In this video, you will learn how to solve linear equations. We will begin with the simple one-step equations by dividing. So here we have two examples, 5x equals to -15 and negative 5x equals -15. As you can see, the only difference is the 5x is one is positive and the second one is negative. 5x means 5 multiplied with x. So the opposite operation of multiplying, so we could get rid of the 5 and have x by itself, is to divide. So we'll go ahead and divide by 5 on both sides, because whatever you do on one side, you do on the other. -15 divided by 5 gives you -3. For the second example, x is being multiplied to -5, so we need to divide by -5 on both sides. And here, -15 divided by -5 is +3. And after you understand this step, you can go straight into big multi-step equations and be able to understand how to solve them as well. So before we go on to the more complicated examples, I left the first example up here. As you can see, in this first example, all we have to do is divide, because on the equation, the first side, we have a number, we multiply with an x, we call that a coefficient. And on the other side, all we have is simply a number. So you can see we have the variable on one side and simply numbers on the other side. So for this new example, if we can somehow make the equation look like the old example, then it will be very easy. All you need to do is divide, and that's it. So we'll do the same thing. Draw a line down the middle. Where you see the equal sign, that's where you split the two sides. On the left, we want the variable x. On the right, we only want terms that only have regular numbers and nothing else. So let's go piece by piece. This term x has an x, so this one can stay over here. Now this 2, you see this 2 does not have an x, so it belongs on the other side. This is a +2, so to remove this +2 and move it to the other side, you need to change the sign. So a positive changes to a negative. Now going to the other side, this 3x is on the wrong side because this 3x has an x, so we need to move it over to the left. So cross this out, this +3x will turn into a -3x on this side. And then lastly, we have a -4, which can stay there because -4 is just a number by itself, so we can just bring it down. Now all you need to do is combine each side. On the left side, we have 1x minus 3x, so 1 minus 3 is -2. So we have -2x over here. And on the right side, we have -2 minus 4, which is -6. Now, don't you see that our second equation looks just like the beginning of the first equation? All we need to do is divide the coefficient of x, which is -2, to get x by itself. So divide by -2, and we have x equals +3, and that is the answer. In this example, we want to begin by getting the variable, which is k, on this side, and every term that has numbers on this side. Okay, so the 5 does not have k. Let's move it. This 5 moves over, becomes a -5, so a positive changes to negative. Now the next term, be careful, that's a -k. Think of it not minus k, but a -k. So this -k, because it has a k, it can stay here. So -k, we can put a 1 in front of this, so we know that's a -1. Now this -3k is on the wrong side because it has the variable, so it needs to move over to the left side. So this -3 moves over, becomes a +3. And lastly, we have this -3, which is a number by itself, so that term can stay right here. Now combining each side, -1 plus 3 is 2. Okay? And -5 minus 3 is -8. All we need to do now is divide the coefficient, which is 2 on both sides. So -8 divided by 2 is equal to negative 4. And here, all we do is bring down the k. So k equals negative 4. That is the answer. This example is not as neat as the last two examples, because in the last two examples, if you remember, on each side we have just two terms and one of each kind, one with the variable and one without the variable. But that's okay. We use the same idea. So let's go term by term, and any term that has the variable n needs to be on the left side, and any term that just have a number by itself needs to be on the right side. So this negative 2n, it has an n. Stay here. This 1, because it does not have the n, needs to move. So this positive 1 goes to the other side of the line, becomes a negative 1. Now this positive 4, because it does not have the n, can just be brought down. Now the positive 4n, because it has an n, it needs to go to the left side. So I'm going to cross it out. Positive 4 becomes negative 4. And then lastly, this negative 3n, because it has the n, it needs to go on the left side. So I'm going to cross it out. This negative 3 becomes positive 3n. And then we combine each side. Negative 2 minus 4 is negative 6, plus 3 is negative 3. So negative 3n. And on the right side, we have negative 1 plus 4, which is positive 3. Now one last step. Divide by the coefficient, which is negative 3 on both sides. 3 divided by negative 3 is negative 1. And that is your answer. For our final example, we want to get all the terms with the n on the left side and the numbers on the right side. So this 4 is just a number by itself. This 1 needs to move. So this 4 becomes a negative 4 on the other side. Positive changes to negative. Okay, and then the positive 2n, this has an n, so it can be on the left side. So it stays the same, positive 2n. This negative 4n has the variable n, so it needs to go over to the left side. So I'm going to cross it out and move it over. This negative 4 becomes positive 4n. And lastly, this positive 2n, because it has an n, needs to go on the left side. So I'm going to cross it out and change it to negative 2n. And one comment I want to make about this before we go on is it is always good after you have moved the terms to count to make sure you didn't miss any terms. So before in the problem we have 1, 2, 3, 4 terms, and after moving you still have 1, 2, 3, 4 terms. So nothing was missing. Now just go ahead and combine each side. So 2 plus 4 is 6, minus 2 is 4. So we have 4n. On the right side, we only have a negative 4, so I just copy that down. Now last step, divide by the coefficient. So divide by positive 4 on both sides. So we have n equals negative 4 divided by 4 is negative 1.